Welcome everyone to Signature Style Saturday. We're giggling so hard here, it's hard for me to remember what I am going to say about today. Well, number one, this segment is sponsored by Manacora Honey, which will lead me into talking to you about what I eat for breakfast. In fact, today's segments are all about you. These are viewer requested videos and we are here to please. We're also going to be talking about, because if you take care of your insides, you got to take care of your outsides, what my skincare regimen is. Boy, people have been asking me about that recently. We're going to do a few seasonal updates, starting with the parlor and the kitchen, how I have changed a few things in my surroundings to make my mood as bright as the spring-like conditions outside. And also we're going to talk about what I am reading, what I am listening to. What do you say, guys? Let's do it. Well, welcome into the parlor, and if you have been a follower for a while, you might, with your keen eyes, have detected a few changes, because I like to mix things up a little bit with the changing of the seasons. We're going into spring, and because of that, it motivates me to move things around a little bit, sometimes for very specific reasons, and sometimes because I just want to change. And that's my question of the day. I've asked this before. I'm asking it again. Do you guys like to switch things up seasonally? And if so, specifically, what do you do? Please answer in the comments below, because I'm sure we'll not only be interested, but we might also want to copy some of your ideas. So starting with something that's real important to hubs once the weather starts turning nice. You may recall that previously I had the settee right here, came from our house, and I had it right here. So you saw it immediately upon walking in. Now what you see immediately upon walking in is kind of this corner here and all the way back into the kitchen. The reason that I made this change is because Hubs so loves to be able to sit in this chair, which is diagonally directly across from the front door and also from the diamond lattice-shaped windows. And he loves to sit here and look outside. Sometimes he'll just leave the door open to catch a breeze, but in the morning he'll have his coffee here in the corner, and it's just takes advantage of the beautiful light that pours in. And as I've said, I don't know how many times, we love to listen to the kids walk to school in the morning. So a lot of times we'll be out here having our coffee and we can see them outside, make their way to the corner and then turn north. So it's really, really fun. I love it. Now, another reason that I wanted to make the change is because in these last, well, gosh, Stuart, I try to say cold days of winter. It's February. One thing I like to do is have some of my friends, particularly friends that I have not seen in a while, and have them over for tea. And this is where I like to have tea. And yes, I do need to remove lots of my topiaries that are very happy here in this south window. But it's just the perfect place, especially if we're a little bit chilly, because again, this wonderful light comes cascading through, and it's just a very, very cheery location. This is also where I like to work sometimes if I'm taking calls or I'm working on my computer and I'm cold. Then I sit here by the window with the south sun, just like a cat, and I am just over here purring while I work because it's so, so nice. Now let's talk a little bit about that. It has been so unseasonably warm that it is frightening. So as you know, in my garden journal, I record what the temperatures are from day to day. And for, I would say, almost the past 2 weeks solid, maybe missing a day or two, we have consistently been 20 degrees or more above average. Now that's scary. I mean, it's great when you're out in it because it feels like spring, and I love the fact that my garden seems to be waking up. But, you know, I can just see our last frost date is April 15th, and I can just see us getting a smackdown, and on April 15th, it'll be, you know, 28 degrees, and today we are 82. So let's just, you know, you'd think it would be reversed, but it's not. So yesterday was 82, and I think, Stuart, it might get up to 82 today, which is just too warm. Yeah. When one day you have on your heat and the next day you feel compelled to turn on your air conditioner, that is really, really scary. And it's hard for the gardens to accommodate those kinds of temperature swings, but it's also hard for us to accommodate them too. But let's not get too dreary and too gloomy, because right now everything looks, I think, really wonderful, and I am loving these spring-like temperatures in February. Okay, number 3, I think, 3 change. I'm counting here. Keep me honest, Stuart. This chest that I bought at an antique store previously was over here in the corner where the new dad chair is. And this is nice because I can have another plant on here, and it really takes advantage of all of the, again, the light, not only from the south, but also from the west coming through. The other reason Hubs likes it is because he thinks it feels a lot more open. And Stuart, I think you said the same thing. Yeah. Sometimes I want things to feel more open, but quite frankly, sometimes I want them to feel less open, just depending, I guess, on my mood. Now, obviously, something else that I changed, because I think the last time we were in here was at Christmas, and I had the stockings and everything up on the mantle. And after Christmas, I took them all down, and all of these books, or most of them, used to be on the sideboard as you walked in by the big blue lamp. And I decided that I wanted to place them over here because all of the book covers, the binding, harmonize beautifully with this Jacobson painting, and I just think the color echoes are marvelous. And yes, we do need to light this painting, and we are looking for the best way we want to do that. And then, of course, I've got over here some of my dried hydrangea heads from Southern Living Plant Collection. And, you know, typically I think these is a real wintry thing, but I just love the way they look so much. It's hard for me to put them up as the seasons change. Let's see, what else is going on? Over in this corner, because if possible this time of year, I always want to have hyacinths, the scent of hyacinths, the colors of hyacinths, and really the seasonality of hyacinths everywhere around me. And right now, thanks to Trader Joe's, they are pretty readily available. I bought 3 bunches the other day, and they are here so that when I greet my guests, they are greeted with just this overwhelming scent of these beautiful hyacinths. And of course, they come in different colors, but this blue,
I can smell it,
is really, really my favorite. I love it. Sometimes as one of them starts to, it's on the way down, then I'll just pluck it out and I'll put it by my bedside table so that I can get every last ounce of its wonderful scent before it is relegated to the compost pile. Over here, you can see that my Valentine's Day orchids are still growing strong. I appreciated everyone's concern about the apples that I had mulched these in around Valentine's Day being a problem, because I believe it's an ethyl kind of gas that they can exude. That's more of a problem if you're putting something in the refrigerator or in a closely tight space. Flowers with apples or any kind of fruit that exudes that kind of gas. But that wasn't a problem here, and I enjoyed them until they got to the point where they needed to be relegated to applesauce. And then I just covered this with moss, but they are going strong here, and they will continue to go strong just as long as I let them. Not a lot, but a few changes in the kitchen. This may seem strange, but I decided I wanted, for more dimensionality, this lift dining or lift kitchen table was always parallel to the banquette prior to my moving it around. And I decided that I too wanted to be able to see outside and have this kind of more open feel when I am sitting here at the table working on projects, working on my taxes, yuck, or even when it's just Hubs and I eating, because then I can sit here and I can look out the windows and it seems a little bit brighter, again with more light than when it is here kind of cozy and pushed back up against the banquette. And that has been a really nice change. What's interesting to me this was a very dramatic change, but what's interesting to me is how few people even noticed.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
To me, all these changes are just dramatic. And half the times, you know, Hubs will be in the house for I don't know how many hours before he'll say, oh, you moved the table. Stuart, too. So what is dramatic to me is very subtle to somebody else. And then my palettes are just starting to change, wanting things to be a little bit more streamlined in here, a little less cluttered as spring arrives, but always room for flowers and some kind of goodies for Stuart and Leah and my guests whenever they come. We're all out of, what was it that we had yesterday that was so yummy? Oh, we had the oatmeal, the homemade oatmeal cream cookies that my friend Jen at Bricks made, and she also had some extra Valentine's Day cookies that she gifted me, and I didn't consume all of them, and it was hard, and I had them here, and I think Stuart,
I got one.
Yeah, you got one. So, and I'm sure Hub's got one too. So there you go. Nothing really excessive, nothing real dramatic, but sometimes all you need is a minor little change to make a big difference in your mood. Well, this is in response to so many questions that I very gratefully have been fielding lately, and that's regarding my skincare regimen and what skincare products I use and why does my skin look glowing. Well, I don't know if it does or not, but I will tell you what I think is extremely, extremely important. And for me, it's the most important thing, and that is exfoliation. And I use a number of different techniques, different products, different things to help me keep my skin kind of debris-free, detritus-free, so that what shines through is just your skin, and you're not looking through that film of dead cells that usually surface on our skin after a period of time, particularly as we get older. Now, I have very sensitive skin, so keep this in mind as I review some of these products. Your skin might even be more sensitive. So I am no dermatologist, I'm no skincare expert. I'm just sharing things with you that have worked for me over the years, starting with the very most basic thing, and that is cleansing. Now, typically I use any kind of non-soapy cleanser, so I'm not even going to go into what I use, but some different things would be any kind of face foaming cleanser like CeraVe or Obagi or Zio. There's a number of different ones. There are also a lot available that are not very expensive, but they are not soapy kinds of products, so they're very good for sensitive and probably dry prone skin. So what I typically do is I use a foaming or a gel-like cleanser every night. However, periodically, when I feel like I've been out in the sun or I got a little bit too much sun and I'm starting to get a lot of dry skin on the surface, here is the first of a number of different kinds of exfoliating layer techniques that you can use. And this is the most basic and probably the most cost-effective. Very infrequently, I will depart from my normal cleansing regimen and I will use soap. Now, again, that's very infrequently, maybe once every 2 weeks or once a month. I use a soap like Dove, any kind of facial soap, CeraVe, Neutrogena, it doesn't really matter. I cleanse my skin with that soap, and then immediately and very, very gently, I take a very rough washcloth. I even buy these when they're already rough. This might even be a kitchen rag, I'm not sure. And very, very gently in a circular motion, I slough off all of that debris and those dead scales on the surface. I don't do this very frequently because it is a little bit, it can be a little bit aggressive on your skin. So be very, very careful. Don't apply a lot of pressure. Just very, very carefully try to slough off any dead skin that's on the surface. So that is my number one technique. When you're not using your regular cleanser, periodically use soap and a rough washcloth. Number two, I should have communicated that I only do that at night when I'm removing makeup, when I really need to deep clean my face. In the morning, I haven't gotten too dirty overnight, and so I don't even use any kind of cleanser or any kind of soap in the morning. What I do use is a naturalize exfoliating pad, and they come in a container like this. They're about this size. Now, because I am a cheapskate, what do? I just tear them in half. So you'll see I'm being honest here. I just tear them in half. And I just use half of one. And I use that on my face, on my neck in the morning. Stuart's laughing.
It's twice as much. I think it's great.
Yeah, twice as much. Okay, so it's just cost effective. I don't have to use soap and water and that kind of thing. And if I'm half asleep, I just kind of wipe this on my face. And it does help. It's got a toner in it. And I'm not even going to go into what some of the ingredients are, but definitely it does recommend that you do a sensitivity test. It's got water, alcohol, and then a bunch of other words I can barely pronounce, much less read. So I have used these for years and years. I do not use these at night. I only use these in the morning. You could probably use some other kind of mild toner or witch hazel or something like that if you didn't want to use one of these pads, but that's what I do in the morning for my exfoliating technique. Let's move on to number three. Now, boy, this is an oldie but goodie. I bet it's been 8 to 10 years since my sister Meg told me about this brilliant exfoliating device called Clarisonic. This is the old version. Now there are some that are much more streamlined. They're smaller. You can see how old mine is because it's the title of it. The name of it's even been kind of faded away. But what it does is there's a removable head that you take on and off so that you periodically can change out the head for hygienic purposes. But what it does is very gently, and by the way, I get the sensitive brush, not the normal brush. And in the shower, I only use this periodically in the shower, not daily. I would say about every other day if I haven't done anything else that is causing physical abrasion or physical exfoliation, then I'll use this. And it just very, very gently helps you cleanse your skin far more deeply than you can get just with your hands or a washcloth alone. And it very, very gently and consistently exfoliates your skin. I would say this would be a great Mother's Day gift, and they're kind of cute in white. It'd be a cute little Easter gift. But these are, while they're not inexpensive, they are very cost effective because, as I've said, I've had this one forever. It comes with a charging station. You just plug it in and you charge it periodically. I like to have it. I just kind of keep it in my shower. I don't travel with it or anything like that. But again, it just gives me another tool in my arsenal to keep my skin exfoliated and glowing. Let's move on. Well, here is another kind of physical exfoliator. And I can't remember, I'm always late to the party on these. I can't remember who told me about this. If it was my sister-in-law, Tracy, or my sister Meg, I can't remember. But these are facial razors. A lot of times you'll see them this says facial skin by removing dead skin cells and unwanted hair. So if you've got peach fuzz, whether it's dark or it's light like mine, if you have a problem with peach fuzz, or again, you just have a problem with flakiness, which I think most of us do, then boy, as inexpensive as these are, I highly, highly recommend them. I only do this maybe once, twice at the most a week, because what it is a little facial razor. Can you see that? And it's flat. Yeah, I'm always bad about doing that. Can you see that? Okay. These are disposable. So I use one maybe 3 or 4 times. In between, I'll spritz it with some alcohol spray or something to sanitize it. And then when you have nothing on your face and your skin is dry, you very gently, with small movements, and at some point I will try to demonstrate this for you, with small, quick, gentle movements, you just shave your face. Now that may seem unbelievable, but boy, you will not believe the amount of dead skin that you get off of your face. And if you run your fingers across your cheek, and then you use this and you run it across your cheek again, you will not believe the difference this makes. Typically, I do this in the morning after I have cleansed my face and right before I put my makeup on, because it makes your makeup just glide on like silk, because there is no friction there anymore because you have removed all of that dead skin. So I highly recommend this. After you use this, again, you're using it on dry skin. Be gentle, don't be overly aggressive, don't do this every day. After you put this on, you want to just moisturize your face. You want to make sure that you put lots of sunscreen on. But don't put anything on your face that might be like a vitamin C serum or anything that is acidic in any way. Be very, very gentle with your skin after this. Sunscreen, and then if you use it, foundation. Okay, finally, let's talk about some topicals, and then we will draw this facial care segment of Little Life Luxuries to an end. And lastly and finally, some of the miracle serums, that's hard for me to say, miraculous magical serums that I use on my face. All of these are relatively inexpensive. They are not going to break the bank. I have used all of these for years, and so I can attest to their efficacy and to the fact that they won't break the bank. Okay, so starting with this vitamin C ferulic acid. This is a knockoff of SkinCeuticals ferulic acid that is considerably pricier. This one is very cost effective. I want to say it's maybe $9 to $12 a bottle, and a bottle lasts a long time. So how do I use it, you ask? On those mornings that I have done nothing really abrasive to my skin, after I exfoliate with one of these neutralize pads, then I just put a dollop of this on my skin all around and my neck, and I really let it soak in. Typically I put it on and then I go brush my teeth or put in my contacts or something like that, because you really want to give this time to penetrate your skin. So that is item number 1. Then, and you can also use this at night. I just don't. I just use it during the day. And obviously the instructions and directions are on them. Now this is another must-have for me. This is pure hyaluronic acid. There are different brands of this in a variety of different price ranges. I have used this one for years, and it is a great hydrator, and it also seems to kind of not only moisturize but calm down my skin. So in the mornings after I've let this soak in, then I put a dropper full of this on my face and let it soak in. I often use this at night too. So those are my 2 products that I use in the morning. After that, it is sunscreen, sunscreen, sunscreen. and I will, that'll be a whole different shoe. But lots and lots of sunscreen on my neck, on my face, and then after that, if you want to use primers or whatever, that's up to you. Now at night I use different things, but one thing I typically use is some kind, this is resveratrol, and it's also ferulic acid, which is the same ingredient in this. And there are also products by The Ordinary that contain something like a retinoid, which will also exfoliate your skin, but it will also cause flakiness, which is why all of these other techniques are very, very helpful. So this is what I use now. Periodically, I will use an Ordinary product that's got an over-the-counter retinoid in it. It's nothing really, really harmful, or harmful to my skin at any rate, because it's so sensitive. So I use this. If I ever feel like my skin just doesn't want anything on it that burns, that stings, that has any kind of chemicals in it, then I'll just put like squalene oil on it or something like that. But I really like this. It works very, very well for me. It's a great antioxidant. And then after that, I will put on some of this hyaluronic acid. And then after that, a moisturizer like that squalene oil or something. I typically do not put any moisturizer under my eyes before I go to bed, because I found all that does is make me puffy in the morning. It doesn't necessarily moisturize, it just makes my eyes blow up. So, I'm sorry, that was kind of long-winded, but if you want to just watch it in little segments so you can dissect it, you can take screenshots. I will put links to all of these products below. One last thing that I typically do about once every 6 months is I will get microneedling or microdermabrasion, something like that, at my doctor's. But other than that, this is pretty much my skincare routine on a daily and a nightly basis.
3, 2.
And welcome everyone to this Signature Style Saturdays. We're going to talk about what I eat for breakfast, how I take care of my skin.
3, 2.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this Signature Style Saturday. But starting with how I keep healthy by sorry, I have to start over again. I was doing pretty good there.
3, 2.
Well, hello everyone, and I've really got it. Okay. Wow, I've been getting lots of messages lately from you guys asking me if I would consistently share my outfit of the day, and I guess I will try when I can, starting with today. From top to bottom, my sunglasses, very much needed today. I bought online, and I will put a link below. They've got this kind of flat frame profile that's really cool. My jacket. Okay, is this not adorable? And this is so surprising. I promise, sometimes I think Leah and I have ESP going back and forth. This is a gift from Leah. When she gave it to me, she said it was a Free People knockoff. She said she thought it looked like me because of all the flowers, the blues in it, and it is, she said, great transition piece, and I agree. I'm not exactly sure where she got it. She said, as I mentioned, that it's a Free People dupe, and so I will put a link there. She just brought it to me today, and it is just going to be perfect for this weather that kind of is going in and out. The tag's still on. And this is what I mean when I say that we must have ESP going between the two of us, because I had this shirt on when she brought it. I did not know she was going to gift it to me, but could I have matched it any better with this top that I bought recently on sale from J. Peterman?
Literally not.
My belt, Hubs loves this belt. I think it's his favorite belt that I wear. This was a thrift store find that I got just outside of Zion, and I love it. My breeches are online, and I can't remember exactly the source, but I will try to find it and get it to you. And of course, my egg yolk, I guess that's the color. Egg yolk yellow Mary boots are from Mary Boots, and my socks actually were a gift from Hubs. I don't know where he got them. And lastly, but more importantly, my earrings, these wonderful colorful loops are from Atrios Tiles. Can you get it?
There we go.
Yeah.
Cheetah.
Are from Atrios Tiles. Oh, it's got all sorts of patterns in there. Love her work. So there you go. There's my outfit du jour. Well, one thing I have noticed as I've gotten older is that I really need to up my protein intake. I am not always good about it. I don't eat a lot of meat, and so I have to be that much more conscious about it with every meal, starting with breakfast. So this is the breakfast I've been eating pretty much every day for the past 2 weeks, and it has served me well. And how? It really has given me more high energy. It makes me feel more sated throughout the day. I'm not so hungry, needing my carbs and things like that. And it just makes me feel more full, energetic, and stabilized. So I don't get the shakes, because I can sometimes have a low sugar issue. So what do I eat? Well, typically, let's start out with when I eat. I pretty much do intermittent fasting. I don't eat a lot at night after 7 o'clock, and quite frequently, other than coffee, I don't have my first meal of the day till 10:30 or 11, sometimes even later than that. And typically I don't have a problem with that. What I eat when I eat consists of this menu, at least for now. 2 eggs. Now I might eat them fried, I might eat them scrambled, it doesn't really matter. It might be hard-boiled egg in my little egg cooker, but I try to consume at least 2 eggs, and this is where quality is important. I'm not telling you guys anything you don't already know. I love it when Jen can get me some of her eggs, because they're not only delicious, but I know they're just really, really high grade. And when I cook my eggs, again, whether I am pan frying them or scrambling them, I don't use butter. I use olive oil, a good quality extra virgin olive oil. In fact, I use such a small amount that all I have to do is just give it a spritz, and that keeps them from sticking to the pan, gives them a subtle flavor, equally as good as butter, I think, and obviously a lot healthier. So I give the pan a spritz, and then I cook my eggs. After that, I do one of 2 things. If I have scrambled eggs, I typically put them in one of my pretty blue bowls, and then I will get one of my tiny little avocados that is hopefully perfectly ripe from Trader Joe's, and I'll cut that into bite-sized bits, and I put them on top of my scrambled eggs, and then I put salsa on top of that. So after I'm really, really healthy, then what do? I make myself a 2nd cup of coffee, and I do this, which quite frankly, I do periodically throughout the day. I just take a great big teaspoon, or this isn't maybe a teaspoon, but it's enough for me. It's the perfect quantity of monochrome honey. I love this stuff so much. It energizes me. It enhances my immunity, prebiotics, antioxidants. It gives me good gut health, and mostly it just tastes absolutely delicious. Sometimes in the morning, if I'm having my coffee, I don't have time to eat breakfast, I'll just take a spoonful of this. Now on those days when I make fried eggs, how do I do that? Same thing, a spritz in the pan, a couple of eggs, fried eggs, and then I put them in one of my cute little blue bowls, and then I give myself an extra treat. And typically lately, that has been either a piece of sourdough toast, because you guys know how much I love sourdough bread, or an English muffin. When I eat an English muffin or a piece of toast, I then spritz the bread and I put it upside down in my tiny little pan, just like I did my eggs. That way I don't dirty up anything else. Don't even have to get out the toaster, and it's perfectly grilled. At that point, if I'm eating bread, then I do, from feeling a little bit bad about those carbs, I feel better because I put some of this Monokura honey on it. This stuff is absolutely the bomb. It is just sheer gold. It is worth every single penny, and I've given it I don't know how many times as gifts. So that's pretty much my regimen of what I eat. It really helps me increase my protein uptake, get all those other healthy goodies, and fortifies me for the rest of the day. Well, we are having too much fun today, and I can just say we all have the giggles. Leah just came over and she said, Linda, I need to fix your collar. And she said, why are there leaves in your collar? And I said, Leah, have you not been around me for any length of time at all? Of course there's leaves in my collar, probably in my boots too. But I digress. Let's talk about what I am reading and listening to today, starting with this is a really interesting book. It is by Walter Isaacson, whom I absolutely adore, called The Innovators, and I've been listening to it as I walk the neighborhood, and it's very compelling. I'm at the beginning of it now, where there's a really interesting story about Lord Byron's daughter, who was one of the founding mothers or founding people of the computer. So it's really, really fascinating, but it's all about how they think and how they work, and the innovative process, and how different innovators work together instead of just in isolation. So I highly recommend it, and especially if you're kind of a science nerd, then I think you would enjoy it. The other book that I am referring to, not necessarily from front to back, but it is that time of year, and this is an oldie but goodie. I think everyone needs to have this on their bookshelf. And I, by the way, I keep this now in my hard storage box outside, because when something is wrong and I want to know what's wrong with my plant and how do I fix it, I can immediately pull this out in the garden and I can refer to it. It's absolutely brilliant. I've had this one for I don't know, for years. It's a little bit easier to work with, I think, than if you're trying to figure out something online by using pictures. I especially like Part 3, what does it look like? A photo gallery of common problems. And then you can take your sick leaf or your sick stem or your sick branch or your sick shrub in its entirety, and you can compare it to these images to see what might be wrong. And I find that kind of one photo compared to your real life situation instantly gives you the information you might need. So I highly recommend this, What's Wrong with My Plant. And by the way, I have a very old version of this. If you get one, I think it's been updated and there's a new cover on it. Interesting and a little bit scary, but it is an election year, and I think that to be informed, it's helpful for all of us to know about the people who are in power, might potentially be in power, and just how they are wielding what power they have. Sadly, I guess, or maybe not, it's also kind of instructive in your personal life of tips and tools that you can use, of course, in an ethical way to wield power. And that is The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. It's a national bestseller. I first saw this in Commonplace Books, got a copy of it. It's really compelling, you guys. I also love it because it's not a book you need to read from front to back. You can just look at the topics, the kinds of power that people wield, and then you can just read that chapter. And it also gives wonderful little parables that perfectly exemplify whatever the law is. It's really, really interesting. I definitely recommend that you have a highlighter with you when you read it. And then also, I think, kind of think through people you have known in your life, people who are good leaders and wield power well, and those that are poor leaders and wield power poorly as you are reading it. So that is what I am listening to and what I am thumbing through this week.